Guys, good morning. So we are starting the third paper for the 2025 people. So we discussed so far two of the full papers, right? That is including 50 MCQs, four structured essays, and four essays, right? So we have already discussed two of the full papers. Now we are starting the third one, right? Now this is in a row the third paper, and completing the third paper so far. Now the syllabus, the complete syllabus, and the simple parts sometimes you may have not studied will be touching in these papers. That is the important thing, right? Because when you are doing these papers, you will get to know which parts have I studied, which parts have I not studied, which parts have should I like redo my works on, right? Which parts I am not really familiar with, and some of the very small points that you may not much consider about but will affect you in the the proper LL paper will be here. So when you get to touch those questions in these papers, take a note, you go to the tute, have a have a like a thorough go through on it, have a better understanding, and keep the all the knowledge in your mind, right? So collectively we are collecting 1 point by 1 point the marks, like the whole marks we are collecting it one by one. So like don't let go any of the the simplest mark for the paper. Try to take the maximum amount of marks from the papers that you face, and you'll be fine in the proper AL paper in November, right? Hopefully you'll be all fine, don't worry, right? So we're starting the third paper, right? Okay, so now first question, starting from the first question, ammonium ions, right? Starting from the first question, ammonium plus converts into NO2 minus is the microorganism that contributes to the reaction. Now this reaction comes under the nitrogen cycle, isn't it? This is under the microbiology, but in this part the two of the microorganisms are there, and the step which comes under the nitrogen cycle which is related to this question is nitrification, right? You have to remember there are like 5 of the steps in the nitrogen cycle, and this is the third step, which is the nitrification. You will have to remember all the 5 steps and everything about the nitrogen cycle. That is something else. And now this is the third step of the nitrogen cycle, and 2 of the the microorganisms contributes to the nitrification process, and these 2 of the nitrogen nitrificating microorganisms or the bacteria are also there in another part in the microbiology, which is what? The nutritioning types, right? The microorganisms depending on the nutritional types. There are 4 of the types, and these microorganisms are coming under the chemoautotrophs, right? Chemoautotrophs are also the same 2 of the microorganisms. So there are 2 steps. What are the 2 steps? Ammonium ions converts into nitrites, and then the nitrites are converted into nitrates. There is another step here in the nitrogen cycle, right? So 2 of the bacteria are doing 2 of the steps. Now they are asking for the first step. They are asking for the microorganism responsible for the first step. So what is the first step? Ammonium ions converted into nitrites, that is nitrosomonas. And for this step, nitrites converted into nitrates is Nitrobacter. So they are asking for the first step, that is nitrosomonas, and the answer is 4. Even the Nitrobacter is given there, so you will have to remember which bacteria is responsible for the exact step, right? Okay. The second question, it is not a photosynthetic colorant or the pigment, right? Photosynthetic pigment. So which one isn't a photosynthetic pigment? So now this is this isn't given in a under certain topic, right? The pigments aren't given in a like a certain topic. It is also like it was given in a certain topic. The pigments, the color pigments are there. Three of the color pigments were discussed, but these knowledge, you know, the knowledge about these color pigments and the colorants are there in separate places. You have to take the collective knowledge from every and each subtopics in different lessons, right, when you are to answer this. So it is not a photosynthetic colorant or a pigment. Chlorophyll is one of the pigments, that is correct. Carotene is one of the pigments that you already know, which gives the yellow color. Indigo carmine we don't know, and it's not there in the syllabus as well. Xanthophyll we know, and the lycotine same we don't know, it's not there in the syllabus. So I can give you answer as 3 and 5. Any of the 3 and 5 answers are correct, because these 3 we are discussing under the few of the topics, right? So but these 2 are not there in the syllabus, and we don't know if whether these are the which one is the colorant and which one is not. But because these are not in the syllabus and 2 of the answers are there, because we can't, like, because there are 2 of the answers, we can't guess and remove the answers to find the unknown answer. We can't do that because there are 2 unknown answers. So you can get marks for the 3 and 5 answers, that's fine, right? So if you answered 3 or 5, we'll have the marks, right? The correct pair among the plant listed below and the forest where they are found is. Now this comes under the forest lesson, and you'll have to remember a few, at least a few, right? The forest and a few of the specific plants there in the forest, right? Try to remember at least a few of the the plants they are in these forests. So now I gave this, this is one of the very popular plant. Which one? The Maharatmal. Maharatmal is there in the Siripada mountains, isn't it? It's there in the Siripada mountains. It's, I think specifically it's only there in Siripada. So it's Maharatmal, the mountain forest, isn't it? Should be the answer. The correct choice for the use of each of the following instruments in tissue culture is, right? So it's a pressure cooker. Pressure cooker is there for the wet heat sterilization, isn't it? Right? The pressure cooker is there for the wet heat sterilization. The dry heat sterilization is more of direct flaming and autoclaving in some of the different conditions. But usually the pressure cooker is there for the dry heat, not for the dry heat, it's for the wet heat sterilization. So the answer which is incorrect, they are asking for the correct answer, isn't it? So it should be incorrect, because all the others are correct. Slowly stir the planting medium. Surgical knives to cut the callus into small pieces, that is correct. Loop to incubate the microorganisms, correct. Laminar flow cabinet is for the sterilization, that is also correct. The correct choice for the use of each of the following instrument, and this should be incorrect. Incorrect choice for the use of each of the following, and the incorrect choice is this, because all the other choices are correct, right? Pressure cooker is for the wet heat sterilization. In a reaction between H2 and I2, if the reaction rate in 5 minutes is the reaction if the reaction rate in 5 minutes is the reaction rate in 2 minutes is, sorry, the reaction rate in 5 minutes is A, the reaction rate in 2 minutes is B, and the reaction rate in 4 minutes is C, right? And the overall reaction rate is R. So now there is a graph, right, for the rate of reaction depending on the concentration, that was given like this. For any of the reactions, the graph will be something like this. Now this is concentration and this is time, right? This is time. So the concentrate the now I'm drawing the graph depending on the concentration of the reactants. So usually what happens, the concentration of the reactants is at the beginning is more, it's high, and eventually when the reaction occurs the concentration reduces, and by the time the concentration reduces the rate of reaction is slowing. So the rate of reaction, the graph will be a slope like this, right? So what happens here is, like at the very beginning, if you take the concentration difference, now the rate of reaction is concentration difference over time, isn't it? R equals concentration difference, and there's a minus in the front because the concentration difference of the reactants will be a minus value, and we are putting the minus in the front to make it positive, because like the concentration difference is the final concentration of the reactants minus the initial concentration of the reactants. So the final is always in a reaction is reducing, isn't it? The reactants are reducing, so the final concentration is always less and the initial concentration is always more. So the less minus more gives a minus value. To make it plus, we are putting a minus in the front, and this is the concentration difference of the reactants, and divided it by the time gives the rate of reaction, right? So usually at the very beginning the concentration difference is high and the time is very low, so the rate of reaction is high. But when it comes to the end, now see the concentration difference, see, is very small at the latter part, right? The concentration difference is very low and the time taken is very high, isn't it? See, the time is very high but the concentration difference is very low. See this? Now for a very small concentration difference, the time taken is really high but the concentration difference is very low, right? The delta C here is very low and the time taken here is very high, isn't it? So at the latter part the rate of reaction reduces, at the beginning the rate of reaction is very high. So that is how usually it happens. So by the time the rate of reaction has to reduce, right? So at in the initial 5 minutes, if you compare the initial 5 minutes and 2 minutes, in the initial 2 minutes it has to have a greater rate of reaction than the 5. So depending on the time, when the time moves on the rate of reaction reduces. That's all you have to know, right? So the greater the time, lower the the rate of reaction. That is the theory. So if you make it in an order, the greater time has to have a lower rate of reaction. So the 5 minutes has to have the lowest, then the 4 minutes and the 2 minutes. So now if I order this in a, they are asking for ascending or descending order, then the relationship between R, A, B and R, they have like put it in an order. I'll put it in an order in a, let's say, ascending order. So the highest should be the lowest time, which is 2 minutes, and its rate is B, that is the highest, and the next one is 4 minutes, that is C, and the next one is 5 minutes, that is A, and the lowest has to be the complete rate of reaction, because if you consider the complete time and the concentration difference, it gives a very low rate of reaction. So the answer should be, the lowest should be R, the highest should be B, and A and C are in the middle. So the answer is actually 1, right? Answer is 1. Which is not a fatty acid commonly found in palm oil in the market, right? So there are 3 of the fatty acids. We try to remember it in the term laurimeristic palm, isn't it? Laurimeris palm, yeah, it was laurimeris palm. So it's lauric acid, myristic acid and the pharmatic acid. Three of the acids are there. Three of the fatty acids are there, and there were like 5 fatty acids given, 3 of the saturated fatty acids and 2 of the unsaturated fatty acids, right? 3 of the saturated fatty acids and 2 of the unsaturated fatty acids were given. So 3 of the saturated fatty acids are this lorimeristic palm, and 2 of the unsaturated fatty acids were linoleic and linolenic acids. Now, if you can't remember this, go to the tute. This is under the this was under the biomolecules. This was under the biomolecules, under the lipids. So there were saturated fatty acids and unsaturated fatty acids were given. The 3 of the examples were there for the saturated and 2 of the examples were there for the unsaturated. So remember those, huh? Right. So it should be lorimeristic palm, that is lorimeristic and pharmatic. So pharmatic is there, lauric is there, meristic is not there, oleic acid, linoleic acid is also there. So the oleic acid was also there, and phthalic acid is new, isn't it? It wasn't there in the tute, right? So the answer should be 5. Right, a filler used to increase the amount of soap in soap production, and even this wasn't given in the tute because you can answer this using the removing technique. You remove all the answers that you know which doesn't come, which doesn't belong to the answer, and the one which will isolate will give the answer, isn't it? So calcium carbonate is one of the fillers but is used in the paint production, isn't it? And the sodium hydroxide is one of the reactants. You can't use kind of a sodium hydroxide kind of a substance as a filler because it's highly reactive. It's one of the the strong bases. And the magnesium carbonate is also there but can use as a filler but not in the soap production, wasn't there. So it wasn't there, right? So the potassium carbonate or the sodium silicate should be the answer. Potassium carbonate, so like out of 1 and 2 it should be one of the answers. So it should be sodium silicate because sodium silicate is more inert than the potassium carbonate, and usually the carbonates are a bit of powder substance, and if you apply it in a surface, that will scratch your skin, isn't it? So can't use sort of a carbonate as a filler in the soap because you're applying it in your body, isn't it? So carbonates usually cannot. That is the simple logic that we'll have to come to a conclusion to like that should be the logic that we have to take to come for a conclusion, isn't it? For a conclusion. So carbonates are more of rigid particles, can be grind into fine particles, but when you apply on the skin it will crush your scratch your skin, isn't it? So it should be the answer, the sodium silicate, right? 8th question. A product is produced industrially by mixing 2 raw materials A and B. During this process, the temperature of the mixture increases. This may be due to the kinetic energy of molecule A is greater than kinetic energy of the molecule B. Now the A and B are the reactants, so we can't take these answers to get to any of the conclusions, because if you are given A and B as the reactants and the products, right? If the A and B were given as reactant and the products, we can compare the kinetic energies of those or the internal energies of those, because if the reactant goes from high energy to low energy product, that means the energy has released, so it's a exothermic reaction. And if the reactant goes from the low energy to a high energy product, that is endothermic, the energy has absorbed. So because A and B are reactants, we can come to that conclusion using those two A and B reactants, isn't it? So it's not the first answer. The kinetic energy of molecule B is greater than the kinetic energy of molecules A. That is also we can't conclude anything using those two informations, isn't it? So the collision of molecules that occurs when A and B are mixed together, the collision theory is for the factors the factors that should be there for an equation, for a reaction to occur, right? So it's not anything, it doesn't have any of the relations to the question, isn't it? So they are asking a product is produced industrially by mixing two of the raw materials A and B. During this process, the temperature of the mixture has increased. So the temperature has to increase by some of the reasons. So none of these reasons help the the point given in the question, isn't it? And the reaction is exothermic. This is something that is related, isn't it? Because when the reaction is exothermic, the heat is released, so the temperature can be increased, right? I think that is the only reasonable answer there. The reaction is endothermic, that will absorb the energy and reduce the temperature. So if the temperature has increased, it has to be a exothermic reaction though. So the answer should be 4. The heat of the reaction between NaOH and HCl is minus 57 kilojoules per mole. What is the amount of heat released in kilojoules when 16 grams of NaOH reacts with 100 cubic centimeters of HCl? Solution of concentration 2 moles per cubic decimeter. This is one of the questions we have to calculate, right? So you have to go step by step, right? So follow with me. The heat of reaction between NaOH and HCl is given, right? And the amount of heat released in the kilojoules when 16 grams of NaOH reacts with 100 cubic centimeters of HCl solution, concentration 2 moles per cubic decimeter, right? So how do you answer this? We have to know few of the things here. So the HCl reacts with, right? The HCl reacts with NaOH, right? NaOH, and produces what? NaCl and H2O, isn't it? It produces the NaCl and H2O. And the stoichiometry of the reaction is 1:1, right? And they have given the delta H naught, which is per mole. The heat released or the energy released per mole is given, per mole per kilojoule is given, that was 57 something, yeah, minus 57 kilojoules per mole, right? Minus 57 kilojoules per mole is the heat of the reaction, right? And they are asking if 16 grams of NaOH is reacting with 100 cubic centimeter of HCl with a concentration of 2m, isn't it? 2m means 2 moles per cubic decimeter, right? That is the short form how we write the concentration, 2m, which means the 2 moles per cubic decimeter. So that is 2 moles per cubic decimeter, that is also there, HCl, right? Right. So they are asking how much of heat will release once 16 gram of sodium hydroxide reacts with 2m 100 cubic centimeter HCl, right? The heat of reaction is given per mole, right? So for this to answer, you'll have to find the moles of the NaOH and the moles of the HCl both, right? Why we have to find the both? Because if one of any of the, like if one of these two of the components got low amount of moles and one got higher amount of moles, one becomes limiting factor, remember that, right? One becomes limiting factor. Mark my point. If this one of the components got low moles and the other got high amount of moles, so one is reacting and decaying the first, and few of the moles in the greater amount is remaining there without reacting. So the one which has the lower amount of moles will be the limiting factor, because it can only react that much of a mole. So the other amount of the other reactant will remain without reacting, because it doesn't have the reactants to react, because the one of the components are becoming the limiting factor, right? That is the important thing. So you have to find the number of moles in both the NaOH and HCl. So if I start finding the amount of moles in sodium hydroxide, now the sodium is 23, oxygen is, the oxygen is 16 grams per mole, the sodium is 23 grams per mole, oxygen is 16, hydrogen is 1. So NaOH collectively is 40 grams per mole, right? 40 grams per mole. This is the molar mass of sodium hydroxide. So to find the amount of moles, number of moles in the NaOH, we have to put this equation: N equals M over M, simple M over capital M. And the simple M is the mass, that is 16 grams, and the capital M is the molar mass, which is now we found as 40 grams per mole. So the amount of, or the number of moles that contain in NaOH should be 16 over 40 is how much? That is 16 times 5, isn't it? Yeah, 4 times 4 are there, 4 times 10 are there, that is 0.4. 0.4 moles are there. So the number of NaOH moles are how much? 0.4 moles. Now we have to check if HCl has like 0.4 moles. If HCl has 0.4 moles, so the reaction is 1:1. So the like none of the NaOH or HCl becomes the limiting factor, right? If the HCl has 0.4 moles, but we'll have to check that. So how do you find the amount of moles in HCl? That is given in concentration and volume. So the equation is C equals N over V, the number of moles over the volume. So the concentration is given as 2 moles per cubic decimeter. We have to find the number of moles, and the volume is given 100 cubic centimeters, but the equation there is in decimeters, isn't it? The equation there is in decimeters. So we have to convert the 100 cubic centimeters to the decimeters. Now for that you have to divide it by 1000. You have to know that by now. So the 100 divided by 1000 is 0.1 cubic decimeters. So cross multiply it, you get the number of moles. How much is that? 0.2 moles, isn't it? That is 0.2 moles. Now the HCl becomes the limiting factor, isn't it? HCl becomes the limiting factor. So the 0.2 moles of the HCl is reacting reacting with 0.2 moles of the NaOH, because the stoichiometry is 1:1, right? 1:1. So with 0.2 of moles of the HCl, only 0.2 moles of the NaOH are reacting, and 0.2 moles of the NaOH will be remaining without reacting, right? So which should we take for the to apply the formula? The limiting factor, isn't it? Because this decides how much will react in the reaction, because this becomes the limiting factor. Now we have to find the amount of heat release when these two amounts are reacting. So the delta H naught is given. What is delta H naught? Delta H naught is the Q over N, the amount of heat release divided by the number of moles, and the amount of heat release should be in kilojoules, and the number of moles should be applied. Now the delta H naught is given as minus 57 kilojoules, right, per mole, and we found the number of moles that is reacting 0.2. Now this is per mole, right? So we are trying to find it. How much would be released for 0.2 moles, right? This is per mole, and we are trying to find how much will be released, the Q, the heat energy per 0.2 moles. How do you find it? Cross multiply it, you get the answer Q. Now that is 57 times 2 is 114 divided by 10, that is 11.4 kilojoules, isn't it? So the answer should be 11.4 kilojoules. Get it? So it's a good question. The limiting factor is the important theory that you should remember and note it down there. Right, so the answer is 11.4. Now these questions were there in the previous papers as well. The fusion, that is solid becomes a liquid, isn't it? Answer 1. Which of the following statement is correct regarding the amino acids? Now this is also one of the important questions. Now this question is under the biomolecules, under the amino acids or the proteins, right? So the subtopic is proteins. You have to know about the amino acids. So there are like 5 of the amino acids. There are 20 amino acids, but there are like 5 of the amino acids that you have to remember by its structure. So we discussed it, and we came up with a phrase to remember the 5 of the amino acid. That was GAPSA. GAPSA is the 5 amino acids. So GAPSA is glycine, alanine, phenylalanine, cysteine and aspartate. So all these structures are changing in an order. So if you remember the changing order, it's easy to draw the structure, right? So it's not about it, but that was additional. Let's come to the question. Which of the following statement is correct regarding the amino acids? The carbon atom belonging to the carboxylic acid, COOH group is alpha carbon. That is not. So if I draw the, the typical structure, that should be something like this. Right, should be something like this. Now the carbon in the carboxylic group is known as the carbonyl carbon. This is known as carbonyl carbon. You have to remember this. Carbonyl carbon, right, is the name. Carbonyl carbon, right. And the carbon next to is called the alpha carbon, right. The carbon next to the carbonyl carbon is the alpha carbon, right. So this is incorrect. The carbon atom belonging to the carboxylic acid group is alpha carbon. Now that is wrong. The amine group is bonded to the carboxylic acid. Now the amine group is the NH2 group. It's not bonded with the carbonyl carbon. It's bonded with the alpha carbon. So this is also wrong. Only some amino acids contain a carboxylic acid group. No. Almost all the, not almost, all the amino acid has to have these 2 groups, the carboxylic group and the amino group. That is why we call the amino acid as amino. This is the amino part, acid, this is the acid part, the carboxylic acid. That is how the name came. Amino acid, the amino group and the acid group, amino acid. So amine group and the acid or the carboxylic group is a must, right. So this is also wrong. Alanine is an amino acid with an aromatic branch chain. No, the aromatic branch chain is the one there is the third one, phenylalanine, because the phenyl is the benzene group, right. So the aromatic group is also the aromatic group means also the benzene group. So the phenyl is also means the benzene group. The phenyl is the benzene with an OH. So the phenyl has a benzene in it or aromatic group in it. So the structure which has an aromatic group in it is the phenylalanine, right. Phenylalanine, that is the third amino acid under that 5 of the GAPSA amino acids. So now alanine is an amino acid with an aromatic branch chain is wrong. Alanine is the second one, that is with the CH3 group, right, CH3 group. If you can't remember these, Go to the tute, study really well, remember the 5 of the structures and the names, and about the amino acid relationships of the and the details of the molecules, right? Right. The simplest amino acid is glycine. That is correct, because that is the first one of the GAPSA, glycine, the simplest form. This is correct. The answer is 5. Which statement about triglyceride molecule is false? Soluble only in non-polar solvents. Soluble only in non-polar solvent is correct, isn't it? Because they are non-polar. The fatty acids are, the triglycerides are non-polar, right? The triglycerides are non-polar. So yeah, they dissolve in non-polar solvent. That is correct. Second one, it is formed by a glycerol molecule and 3 fatty acids molecules linked together. That is also correct. One of the glycerol and 3 of the fatty acids are linked together to form the triglycerides. It has polar hydrocarbon chains. Polar hydrocarbon chains. Not really. Usually the hydrocarbon chain is non-polar, right? There are ester bonds. That is correct. Insoluble in water is also correct. So the answer is 3, right? Which statement about the triglyceride molecule is false? Okay, that is correct. Right. Which of the following statement about the polymer is true? PV is a thermoplastic polymer. Not really, right? Yeah, it's correct. PV is a thermoplastic, yes. So the thermoplastics are there, then the thermostable are there. So the thermoplastics are, when you heated it up, you can easily bend it to any of the different structures, and once it's cooling down, the structure will stay likewise. And again, if you heated it up, again you can change the the shape of the structure. That is thermoplastic. You can change the shape using the heat, right? And the PVC, you can do it. If you have seen the PVC tubes, you heat it up and you bend it sometimes and you plug it into another thing, sort of things. You are doing it, right? I think in the ET you are doing it. So this is correct. Terylene is produced by polymerizing ethylene glycol and terephthalic acid. We don't know. Keep it for a second, right? Let's say we don't know. We'll keep it for a second, right? Both urea formaldehyde and phenol formaldehyde are thermostable. That is correct, because if you remember, the urea formaldehyde and the phenol formaldehyde were the examples for the thermostable polymers. So this thermostable means when you apply the heat, you can't do the same like in the thermoplastics. You can't bend it or something. They are thermostable. They are hard to change the shape applying the heat. Usually the strip switch and the switch boards everything are made of these thermostable polymers. And one of the thermostable polymers, the urea formaldehyde and the phenol formaldehyde. And the phenol formaldehyde is Bakelite, if you can remember. The Bakelite is the one which is using for the switchboards and everything, right? You have to remember that as well. So the 2 of the answers were given under the thermostable polymers, phenol and the urea formaldehyde, and the phenol formaldehyde is Bakelite as well, right? So this is correct. Polystyrene is produced by the monomeric polymerization of styrene. Yeah, that is correct, right? That is correct. Teflon is a thermoplastic polymer produced by the polymerization of tetrafluoroethane is also correct. So the answer should be this, isn't it? So the statement should be changed. Which of the following statement about polymer is false, isn't it? Because all the others are correct. The second one is the only one incorrect, isn't it? Hopefully, yes. Yeah. So it should be false, not true. It should be false, right? So the answer is 2. Thin layer chromatography TLC can be used to separate which of the following compounds? Non-volatile organic compounds? Yeah, can. Gaseous compounds, it's hard to, do the gaseous compounds. Highly soluble ionic compounds, really hard. Compounds with high molecule weights, hard. All of the above. So the answer is, can be used to separate which of the following compounds is non-volatile organic compounds, right? So the answer is 1. What is the main function of alkaloids in plants? That is for the protection, isn't it? To provide protection against the herbivores and the pathogens. So the answer should be the 5, right? Fifth answer is correct. So far all the other answers, photosynthesis doesn't come under the alkaloids, a function of the alkaloids. Contribute to the growth and the development of the plant, no, it doesn't come under the alkaloids. The storage of the plant nutrients, no. Communication with the insects that leads to the pollination is also no. Yeah, so the answer is 5, right? The answer is 5, that is correct. Right. 16th question, the production of gaseous emission that contributes to all 3 environmental problems, global warming, acid rain and photochemical smoke. So it has to contribute to the 3 of the problems, right? The first answer is the air pollutant emitted from the coal fire power plants. So the coal powered plants gives an emission of carbon dioxide, and the sulfur is also there. So carbon dioxide and sulfur are the 2 of the emissions that happens there. And the carbon dioxide is responsible for the global warming, and the sulfur dioxide is responsible for the acid rain. But for the chemical smoke, photochemical smoke, this doesn't have much of an effect. We'll go through it. So the first one doesn't have much of the effect. It only give an effect on the 2 of the things, right? Second thing, the pollution emitted from vehicles that burn the fossil fuels. Now this is something, because pollution emitted from the vehicles that burn fossil fuels. Usually that is the petrol or the diesels that we burn in the engines, isn't it? So in the engines they release carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide sometimes, and they filter it, but in some cases, yeah, the sulfur dioxide is also released. You can take it as an component that releases in the emission. If not, though the sulfur dioxide isn't released, usually it's filtered. Surely the nitrogen dioxide is, or the NOx are released, right? Surely the NOx's are released. And the other one is what? Yeah, usually these 2, and the unreacted hydrocarbon chains are also released, but this is enough for the answer, because the global warming is affected by the carbon dioxide and the acid rain is affected by the nitrogen dioxide. That is one of the NOx's, because NOx are the NO, NO2, N2O molecules. All the N and like the nitrogen and oxygen containing molecules are the NOx's. So yeah, it affects the acid rain as well. And the photochemical smoke, yes, the NOx are affecting this photochemical smoke. So the answer should be 2, isn't it? Because the pollutants emitted from the vehicles that burn fossil fuels are affecting 3 of the global warming, acid rain and photochemical smoke together. That is correct. So I hope I don't have to go through all the other answers, because this should be the answer, right? What input material can be processed into new products? What input materials can be reprocessed into new products? That should be solid waste, organic waste. It should be recyclable materials, isn't it? Should be recyclable materials, right? What input material can be reprocessed into new products? Because if it is recyclable, you can take it back into new production, isn't it, as a raw material? Yeah. So the 18th question, the circle with the equal radius intersects each other. The centers are O and A respectively. These are the centers. If the length of AO is 32 centimeters, then the radius of the 2 circles are, they are asking for the radiuses, isn't it? And this is given perpendicular. Do you see it? That is perpendicular as well. So it's easy, right? It's nothing much. That is Pythagoras you had to put there to find the radius. Yeah, it's Pythagoras. So that is r square plus r square equals 32 square. Yes. So the 2r square is equal to the 32 into 32. That will be r square equals 16 into 32. So the answer is given in decimals. We have to solve it. Right, so there is 16 into 32, 512, and its complete root, that is 22.63. The answer is 22.63. That is one of the simple ones. Right, the second one. So the 19th question. A circular cheese box consists of 8 pieces or 8 pieces as follows. If the area of the sow is 363 square centimeters, find the length of one piece. Now the square area, sorry, the area of the complete circle is given as 363. By using that, you can find the radius. If you know the radius, you can find the length of one piece, right? Yeah, that is easy. Right. So how do you do it? So the 5r square is equal to 300 and how much? 63. 363. So the 5 is 22 over 7. R square equals 363, and if we cross multiply it, r square equals 363 into 7 over 22 and the complete root of it. Right, so you have to simplify it. So 363 into 7 divided by 22, that is 115.5, and you have to take the complete root of it. The complete root of it is 10.74, right? The radius is equal to 10.74. Now the 7 is also there. We'll take that as well for the 3 decimals. So they are asking for the length of one piece. So to find the length of one piece, you have to put the you have to find the arc length, and then you have to add the two of the radiuses into it, right? So how do you find the arc length? Easiest way is S equals r theta if you put it in the theta in radians. Now this complete circle is 2 phi, and one of the sectors angle should be 2 phi over 8 because it has divided into 8. So the angle of one of the sectors should be phi over 4, right? That is phi over 4. So I'm going to apply. So S equals, we already found the R as 10.747, yes, and the theta is phi over 4. I'll take the phi as 3.14 to simplify. So the answer should be 10.747 into, I'm sorry, yeah, so this into 3.14 divided by 4 is 8.436, and you have to add two of the radiuses, but I think the answer is asking for the arc length of the one piece, the arc length, and the arc length is 8.436. It should be this, right? This is one of the approximate answers because I took the phi as 3.14. If I take 22/7, that will give a different answer as well. Yeah, so the approximate answer is 8.436. The answer should be 8.45, that is the arc length. Right, 20th question. The ratio of the volume of a cylinder to the volume of a cylinder with half the radius of the same height. Now, the volume of a cylinder is 5r square h, and they are asking for the ratio of that cylinder to another cylinder with a half of the radius but the same height. So for the first cylinder, I will write the equation 5r square h, right? This is the volume of the first cylinder, and they are asking for the ratio, which means the division of the volume of a cylinder with half the radius. So that I'll take 5r half the radius divided by 2, and the height are same. So what happens now? 5 to 5 has to cancel out, h to h has to cancel out. Now the r square is there, so the answer should be r square over 4. Now what happens to the 4? 4 comes to the top. So that is 4 over 1. 4 over 1 is 4:1, isn't it? That is the answer. 4:1. Answer is 2. Yes, answer is 2. 66 radians when expressed in degrees. So now you already know. Now 180 degrees is 5 radians, isn't it? That is 3.14. And you had to find how much is 66. So what should you do? You already know the 5 radian is 180 degrees. You have to find how much is 66 rad. Yeah, how much is 66 rad? That is radians. 66 rad. Okay. So what do you do? You divide 66 by 3.14. 66 divided by 3.14, that is 21.019 something, and you have to multiply this by 180. That will give 3,783. 3,783. So the approximate answer is this. Yeah, that is the approximate answer, right? It may change if I take the 5 as 22/7, but I took it 3.14. So the approximate answer is 3,780. Okay. Second question: if cos is 15/17, then the value of 2 sin square theta minus cos theta plus 1 is, this 2 shouldn't be there. If cos is 15/17, then the value of 2 sin square theta minus cos theta plus 1, right? Okay, so if cos is, you have to draw a triangle. That is the easiest way of answering it. If I draw the triangle and if I took the angle theta there, the cos is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So the adjacent is 15 and the hypotenuse is 17. So the opposite should be 9, isn't it? Because 9, 15, 17 is one of the triplets. Yeah, 9, 17. Give me a second, I'll check that. 9, you have to remember these, 9, 17, 15. Pythagoras. Yeah, 9, 15, 17, yes, it's 9. Right, so they are asking the value of 2 into sine square theta. So it's 2 into sine square, right? So sine is what? Opposite over the hypotenuse. That is 9/17 and its square. minus cos theta. Now cos theta is what? Adjacent over the hypotenuse, that is 15 over 17 and plus 1, right? Yeah, plus 1. So what do you get here? 2 into 9 square is 81. 17 square, I can't remember. To find it. 17 into 17. That is 289. 289 minus 15 over 17 plus 1. Right? Yeah, answer is given as a division. 289 is there? Yeah, is there. So if I take 289 divide by 17, that directly gives 17. So yeah, so if I take this 2 simplified back again, this should be 2. Shall I bring this to this side? And a different color would be good, right? So it's 2 into 81 will be 162, isn't it? Yeah. Divide by 289 minus 17 times 1 is 17. 17 plus 15 is 32. That is 32. If I make this a proper fraction, that is 32 over 17, and the common denominator should be 289 times 1 is there, 162 plus 17 is there. So 17 times 32. Seventeen times 32 is 544. 544. So 544 plus 162 is 706. 706 over 289. Bro, the answer isn't there. I'm sorry, it's a minus. Yeah, it's a minus, isn't it? It's a minus, not a plus. So it has to give a deduction. Should be deduction. So it should be minus here. It's 382. So even 382 isn't there. So the denominator should be anyways 289. So the answer I got is this. There is no approximate answer as well, I think. 382 over 289 is the answer I got, but it is not there. Yeah, any approximate answer? 382? Nope. So it's a all. Take it as a all. 22nd question is all. Right, come to the next question. The coordinates of the two edges of the straight line x and z are 8, 15 and minus 4, 3 respectively. If yz equals xy, then the coordinates of y that you have to find. So if you understand this, the y should be the midpoint of the line, isn't it? So if I draw it, coordinates are 8, 15, minus 4, 3. 8, 15, minus 4, 3, right? 8, 15 and minus 4, 3. 8, 15, this is random, minus 4, 3, this is not the exact coordinates and the shape of the shape of the line. Now this is x z, isn't it? Yeah, x z, and y z equals x y. That means the y should be in the very middle, right? The line y should be in the very middle. This is x z. They are saying x y is equal to y z. So the y should be in the very middle. They are asking for the coordinates of the y. So it's how you find the coordinates of a midpoint of a line. So how you find the midpoint of the midpoint coordinates of a line? You add the two of the x coordinates in the either sides and you divide it by 2. That's simple, right? So 8 plus minus 4 divided by 2 is the x coordinate in the midpoint. There is 4, and the y coordinate, you add the two of the y coordinates and divide it by 2. 15 plus 3 divided by 2, 18, that is 9. So 4 and 9 are the coordinates. 4 and 9 are the coordinates, right? 4 and 9 are the coordinates. Nice, right? So it's 4 and 9. It's a 4 and 9. Huh? Is it 2 and 9? Did I divide it wrong? 8 minus 4 is, yeah, I divided it wrong. 8 minus 4 is 4, divided by 2 is 2. It's 2 and 9. 2 and 9. Yeah, it's 2 and 9. The answer is 2. In the second term examination of the grade 13 technology stream, the mark obtained by 5 students were 70, 67, 80, 59, 74 respectively. If each of these marks increased by 1 mark, what would be the new mean? You just add 1 mark for the 5 of the values there and divide it by 5. That is easy, right? 71 plus 67 plus 81 plus 60 plus 74, and the whole thing you have to divide it by 5. Divided by 5, that is 70.6. This is the answer, right? Right. The blood sugar level, milligram per deciliter, number of patients are given. The above shows the blood sugar levels of in milligrams per deciliter of 39 diabetic patients. What is the maximum sugar level of 75 of the patients? So the maximum sugar level of 75% of the patients. Now the 75% is one of the quartiles, that is 3/4. Yeah, that is 75, and they are asking for the maximum level of that, right? So the quartile should be 3/4 n plus 1, which is 3/4 n plus 1 is how much are they? 39 and 40. It should be the 30th value, and the 30th value they are asking what is the maximum sugar level, not the minimum, right? So you have to add it from the bottom, right? Because it's more than, right? They are asking for the maximum sugar level. What is the maximum sugar level of 75% of the? Yeah, they're not asking less than, so they are asking more than, so you have to add it from the bottom. So the 30th integer from the bottom, that is 6 plus 3 is 9, 9 plus 7 is 16, 16 plus 8 is 24, 24 plus 6 is 30, that is 222. Answer is 2, isn't it? What is the graph of the function y equals x plus 2x minus 7 correctly drawn? Now this I took as more than because they are asking for the maximum sugar level of 75% of the patient. Should be more than that, like, so more than 75% have this amount of sugar level. If you add it from the top, that will give the 75% of the the diabetes patients have the sugar level less than this much, so they are asking more than, so the value should be added from the bottom. I hope you understand that, right? What is the graph of the function y equals x plus 2x minus 7? So it's you have to find first if it is a maximum or a minimum. So the multiplication here is plus, so if it is a plus, the multiplication of the x is plus, that means it's a minimum. So it should be one of either one of the 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 answers. And then the x coordinate value of the the minimum point. How do you find it? The x coordinate of the minimum point should be equals to minus 4a over b, isn't it? Yeah, it should be minus 4a over b. That is minus 4a is how much? Is 1, and the b is how much? Is 2. So it's minus 2 is the minimum point, right? That is the minimum point. So minus 2 should be there. Now I think the formula is 2a over b, isn't it? It is 2a over b. Yeah, it's 2a over b, right? This is 2a over b, so it should be 2 into 1 divided by 2, that is minus 1. So the minimum of the x coordinate of the minimum value is minus 1. So it has only one answer there. So the answer is 4. It is 2a over b, right? Minus 2a over b is the x coordinate of the minimum point, right? 27. What is not included in email systems? Trash, right? The following are true statements regarding the internet. www is an internet service provider. No. URL is used to identify as a web page. That is correct. The IP address can be used to identify the computers. Correct. B and C. B and C only 5. Fifth answer. Right. What is an application software that cannot be used to store and process data? So we don't know all the other things, but we know that PowerPoint you can't store. Yeah. So the answer is 1. What is the symbol that should always be present in an email address? That is @ what happened? Come down, more down. Yeah. Which of the following equation in Excel sheet software? Some is we don't put a slash there, do we? Right. So A and B are wrong. This is correct. So it's B only, isn't it? When preparing a question paper in a word processing software, a property required to prepare the data of the equities, that is subscript, right? Subscript. An essential use in information and communication technology. Spread of the virus, no. Posting hateful statement on the social media, no. Sending spams, no. Obtaining information without authorization, no. Preparing websites, okay. Should be the answer, right? Which software is not a utility software in a computer system? Not a utility software in a computer system, right? Backup software, antivirus software, file management software. This one, right? It's not a utility word processing software. All the others are. Control Z shortcut is for undo. The following are the minimum and the maximum rainfall in millimeters for the 3 cities recorded in spreadsheet. What type of graph appropriate to represent the above data graphically? Bar charts, right? Scatter graph, linear graph, pie charts, bar graphs, bar graphs, yes. 37 question, the heat generated by the 12 ohm resistor in the circuit shown in the figure is 6 volts, right? The heat generated by the 8 ohm resistor. So now the 12 ohm, it gives a 6 watt. They are asking for the 8 ohm. Now the voltage for 2 of the resistors are same. So you have to come with an equation that you can find the, the power consumed in the 8 ohm using one of the power equations. So this the equation that we usually use is if you are given the V, because the V or the voltage of the two of the resistors are equal. So you can, if you put it into two of the simultaneous equation, you can cancel out the V, right? So considering that, we will put the equation P equals V square over R, so that we can cancel out the V, because V is common for two of the resistors. So if I put it for the first one, that is 6 volts equals V square over the resistance is 12. And if I put the same to the second equation, I'll take the power as P, V square should be same, and the resistance is 8. So these are two equations, 1 and 2. If I divide these two, the V will cancel out. So 6 over P is equal to 1 over 12 divided by 1 over 8, that the 8 will reciprocal and come to the top, that is 8 over 12. So now what happens now, if you want the P, that will be 6 into 12 over 8, isn't it? 6 into 12 over 8, that is how much? 4 times 2, 4 times 3, 2 times 3, 3 into 3 is 9. So it's 9 watts, 9 watts, fourth answer. Right. So the 38th answer, if a 30 centimeter long wire is angled to a magnetic field of a magnitude 4 into 10 to the power minus 2 Tesla, as shown in the figure below, an electric current of 2.5 amperes is passed through it, the magnitude of the force experienced by the wire. So it's F equals BIL, and since it has angled, you have to take the component in cos theta value. That will be F equals BIL cos theta, right? BIL cos theta. This is cos theta. BIL cos theta, right? So F equals, the B is what, 4 into 10 to the power minus 2, and the amperes, 2.5 amperes are there, right? 2.5 amperes are there. And the length is how much? Length is 30 centimeters. You have to convert it into meters. So 30 over 100. Cos theta is half because it's got 60. Simplify this, you get the answer. And that is how much? This cancels out. So it's 2 into 2.5 into 30. Yeah, 2 into 2.5 in, sorry, 2 into 2.5 into 30, that is 150. 150 into 10 to the power minus 4, because minus 2 is there, and divided by 100 is also minus 2. Is it there? The answer is 1, right? Somewhat is the power is wrong, but the approximate answer is 1, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. The approximate answer is 1. Consider the following measuring instruments: a micrometer screw gauge with a circumference divided into 100 equal parts and a pitch of 0.5 millimeter. Which answer has the smallest measurement of this instrument? Are they asking for the smallest measurement or the least count? The micrometer screw gauge with the circumference divided into 100 equal parts with the pitch of 0.5, that is 0.5 over 100, the least count, that will be 0.005 there. A vernier caliper with the vernier scale with 9 divisions divided into 10 equal parts. Main scale is 1 millimeters, that is 0.1 millimeters, easy. Microscope with the vernier scale The main scale being graduated in 1 millimeter divisions and the 49 divisions divided into 59 equal parts. So it's 1 divided by 50. The simplest way is 1 divided by 50, that will be 0.02 millimeters, isn't it? Yeah, 0.02 millimeters. So which are the smallest measurement of these instruments arranged in ascending order? Ascending is increasing, right? Yeah. So it's which is the highest? The B is the highest, C is the second, C is in the middle, and the A is the lowest. So it's AB, sorry, ACB is the third answer, isn't it? Yeah, third answer. In which of the following force systems can a net force of 13 newtons exist? Net force of 13 newtons. So this doesn't give a 13 newtons, 12. 512, you have to calculate this. And this is also. Now if I consider this has a 19 degrees angle, so that's Pythagoras. 12, 5 should be 9. Isn't it? Sorry, yeah. This should be 13. 12, 5, 13 is one of the Pythagoras triplets. So the answer is 5. Because this is 90 degrees, it should be Pythagoras triplet. 5, 12, the Pythagoras triplet is 13, is correct. When water in a tank is heated uniformly by 5 kilowatt immersion heat in 10 minutes, its temperature increased by 20 degrees of Celsius, assuming that the heat is not lost to the environment and that the heat capacity of water is 1.2 into 10 to the power 4 joules per Kelvin. The heat capacity of the tank can be. Now, the heater provides this much of power in 10 minutes, and using that you can find the amount of the energy or the heat supplied by the heater. And the water takes water has a heat capacity of 1.2 into 10 to the power 4 and heats up to 20 degrees of Celsius. Using this two, you can calculate the amount of heat absorbed by the water, that is C theta, and they are asking for the capacity of the tank, that is the rest, right? So we'll find the amount of heat supplied by the heater, that is 5000 watt into 10 minutes multiplied by 60, 10 seconds. This heat is supplied to the water, that is 1.2 into 10 to the power 4 into 20 has absorbed there, plus the heat absorbed by the tank, right, by the tank. So you have to deduct. How much do you get there? 6 into 5 is 30. 3 of the zeros are there. 3, 4, 5. 30 into 10 to the power 5. 3, 4, 5. Yes. So here what do you get? 1.2 into 2 is 2.4 into 10 to the power 5. Yes. Yeah, that's it. Okay, and the amount that the tank took, the amount of heat that the tank took should be 30 minus 2.4, that is 20, how much? 7.6 into 10 to the power 5 is the amount that the tank took, joules, and they are asking for the heat capacity. So the heat capacity is the amount of joules per Kelvin. So to find the heat capacity, you have to divide this by 20, right? Because this much of a heat was absorbed per 20 Celsius, 10 to the power 5 divided by 20. You have to divide this by 20. Will give the heat capacity. So it's 2.6 sorry 20, right? 27.6 divide by 20, that is 1.38 to the 10 to the power 5. That will be something 138. Is this correct exactly? 5000, 10 to the 60, 30, 1, 5. This should be 10 to the power 5. The mistake is there, right? So this should be 24. This should be 24. I'll give this as an owl. A bit of a mistake is there. So 24 minus 30 is 6. That is 6. That is, this should be how much? That is, this should be 24 minus 30 is 6 into 10 to the power 5, that is 6 lakhs, divided by 20 will be 3 into 10 to the power 4. 3 into 10 to the power 4 is 30,000. The answer is 30,000. This answer is 5. Bit of a mistake is there, so I'll give it a all. Doesn't matter. Take it as all. A cube of side length L is made of material of density D. The coefficient of the linear expansion of that material is alpha. When the temperature of the cube is increased by 10 degrees of Celsius, the correct regarding. The new length of the side is, how do you find the new length? If I take the new length as L1, that should be L times 1 plus alpha theta, that is 10. So yeah, that is correct. The total surface area, that should be, if I take it as L1 square equals L square times 1 plus 2 alpha is the beta. 2 alpha times 10 is 20 alpha. That is also correct. The density is 1d times 1 plus 30 alpha. I have to calculate it. Shall I calculate it erasing these two? To find the density, you have to find the mass, and the mass you can find using the density and the volume, right? So the mass doesn't change when the volume expands, but the density does. So you find the mass, divide it by the new volume, you get the new density, right? So now the density is equal to mass over the volume, and the mass is m. You have to find it using d and v, because the density is given, isn't it? Isn't the density given? Yeah, density is d. So the volume is what? Since it's a cube, it should be L cube, right? This is the density. Now the mass, if I isolate, that should be m equals d L cube. Now the mass doesn't change, so the mass should be a constant. D L cube is a constant now. Now the new volume, did we find the new volume? No, only the area, right? And the new volume should be, if I take it as L1 cube, should be equal to L cube times 1 plus gamma, that is 3 alpha, and the theta is 10, so is 30 alpha, right? This should be the new volume, and the new density should be how much? D1 is equal to, the mass is dl cube and the new volume is L cube times 1 plus 30 alpha. So L cube to L cube cancels out. New density should be d over 1 plus 30 alpha. Now, right, it has given as a multiplication, so it's wrong. The volume is L cube times 1 plus 30 alpha. We found it, right? L cube times 1 plus 30 alpha. Yeah, that is correct. So A, B, D are the answers. A, B, D only. Answer 5. A, B, and D only. Right. In the following plumbing system, the diameter of the large pipe is 4D and the diameter of the small pipe is 3D. In this pipe, water flows in the right direction, and if the speed of the water flowing through the large pipe is V, then the speed of the water flowing through the small pipe is. Now that one is easy, because the equation is A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2, isn't it? So you have to take A as phi r square because it's a tube, so it's phi r, the diameter is given 4D and 3D, so the radius should be 2D and it's square, into the velocity is V, and the area of the small tube is phi, the diameter is 3D, that is 3D over 2 and its square, and we have to find the V1, right? So simplify the equation and find the V1. What happens here? 5 to 5 cancels out. This is 4D square into V equals 9D square over 4 into V1. D square to D square cancels out, and the V equals 16 over 9. The V1 equals 16 over 9. Cross multiply it, you get 16 over 9V. So it's 16 over 9. Yes. 44. A boat with a volume of 3 cubic meter and the mass of 50 kilogram floats in water. If the density of water is 1000 kilograms per cubic meter, what is the maximum number of people each of mass 50 kilogram can be carried on the boat without sinking? So that is the upthrust, isn't it? So if you find the upthrust, that is U equals V rho G, and the V is what? 3, and the rho is 1000 and the G is 10. Now this is the maximum upthrust that it can go, and that is how many newtons? 3 into 10 to the power 4 newtons. That is 30,000 newtons, right? 30,000 newtons. And they are carrying the people, the maximum number of people each of mass 50 kilograms, means the boat is 500 newtons, isn't it? Yeah. So the boat is again 500 newtons. If I divide this by 500, 3 into 10 to the power 4 divided by 500, that will be, the 30 divided by 5 is 6, that is 60. So boat takes a one, like the 60 number of the passengers can be seated in the boat, but the boat weighs 50 kilograms as well, and it takes one of the upthrust, and out of the boat, out of the 60 of masses that we can put, the boat takes one, the rest of the weight is for the people, that will be 59. That will be 59 because the boat takes one, right? A 1 kilogram mass tied to one end of a string of length 1 meter is held by one end of the string and rotated in a horizontal circular path with a uniform angular velocity of 2 radians per second. The linear velocity of the mass is, yeah? The linear velocity is V equals R omega, isn't it? It's nothing much to worry about the mass. Yeah, nothing to worry about the mass. Yes. So the R is 1 meter and the omega is 2. That is 2 ms minus 1. Answer is 3. An object with a moment of inertia 3 kg per square meter rotates about the axis of rotation with an angular velocity of 3 rads per second. A 27 kg mass performing a linear motion with a kinetic energy equal to the kinetic energy of this object and the speed of the object. You have to equal the two of the kinetic energies, isn't it? So half I omega square is the rotational kinetic energy. So the I is 3 and the omega is how much? 3, and its square is equal to the linear kinetic energy, that is half, and the mass is 27, and we have to find the velocity of it. So what happens there? 3 square is 9, 9 times 3 is 27, so the whole 27 cancels out, so 27, half to half cancels out. V square equals 1 and the V is 1, right? The square of 1 is 1. The bowstring A and B have bow constant of 1500 newtons per meter and 3000 newtons per meter respectively. The bowstring are pulled by two separate forces of equal magnitude. The ratio of the potential energies of the bowstrings A and B. So the bowstrings are given and they say that they apply the equal forces. So shall I erase this for a second? So you have to find the extension. Half ke square should be the equation for the potential energies. So now we have to apply the half ke square, but you have to find the E. How do you find the E? That is the thing, right? So the bow constant is given. How do you find the E? Simple. So this is how it says, like two of the springs are there applied with same force, right? Now the two of the strings are applied with the same force but have two different bow constants. One has 1500, the other has 3000. So you have to find the E, because the E will change because the bow constants are different. So how do you find the E? That is Ke, isn't it? Yeah, so the same force is applied. So for the first one, the K is 1500 into E. So the E should equal to how much? 5 F over 1500 is the E of the first one, and of the second one it should be same force is applied but the bow constant is 3000 into E. So the E of that should be F over 3000. Now you have the E, so you can apply it to the potential energy, that is half Ke square. If I apply to the first one, K is 1500 and the E you found it as F over 1500 and its square, right? And of the second one, I'll take it as EP1, and of the second one that will be half, the K is 3000 and the E is F over 3000, sorry, the 3000 square, isn't it? So you have to simplify this using simultaneous equations, and they are asking for the ratio of A and B. So that is, which comes first? Yeah, 1500 EP1 comes first. So EP1 over EP2, right? So divide first by the second. Now the half to half cancels out, 1500, 2 times are there. Now this is the square of the whole thing. So the F square to F square cancels out. Now what is left there? EP1 over EP2 this is EP2, right? EP2 equals what is equal to that is here you get 1 over 1500 into 1500 and divide by 1 over 3000 square, that reciprocals, so it comes to the top, that is 3000 into 3000. So that will be 2, this will be also 2, 2 into 2 is 4, that is 4:1, isn't it? So the answer is 4:1 because the answer will be 4, right? EP1 over EP2 is 4, so it should be 4:1. So the answer is 3. Answer is 3. Right, the other one, a uniform rod of mass 20 kilogram and length 5 meters is placed on a horizontal bar 1 meter from the end. A mass 20 m and 3 m are placed at the either ends of the rod and are kept in equilibrium. The perpendicular reaction force acting on the rod at the pivot point and the value of m are respectively. Okay, now the mass of the 20 kilogram is, sorry, the mass of the rod is 20 kilogram, that should be acting in the very middle of the rod, that should be 2.5, isn't it? Because the whole thing is, no, the whole thing is, yeah, it's 2.5, so because the whole thing is 5 meters, it should be 2.5. That is 200 newtons, right? Because this is the center of gravity which the complete the weight is acting on, right? That is 200. It should be in the very middle. So now this is under an equilibrium. Using the equilibrium equation, you can find the m. How? So the sigma tau should be equals to 0, isn't it? The sigma tau should be equal to 0. So the 0 equals, you first write the left hand side rotations and then the right hand side rotations, putting the minus values. So what are the left hand side rotations? Now this is the pivot point. Left hand side rotations are, this one is left, these two are right. So it's 20 m into gravitational acceleration, because if this is a mass multiplied by the gravitational acceleration multiplied by 1 meter, that is plus, all the others are minus. Minus 2000 newtons acting in a, this is 1 meter and this is 1.5, it should be, right? Because the whole thing is 2.5, right? So minus 200 newtons in 1.5 meters minus, this is completely acting in 1 meter, that should be 4, right? So it's 3 m and the gravitational acceleration into 4. Yeah, so simplify this, you will find the m value, right? How do you simplify this one now? Now take all the negative values to one side, the positive values to one side. This is how much? 15 into 20. 15 into 20 is 300, isn't it? 1.5 into 200 is 15 into 20. So 15 into 20 is 150, 300. 300 minus you know what, the easy thing is you put the values with m and g to one side and the values with no m and g to the other side. This doesn't get erased. Okay, got erased. Right. So 300 there is equal to, I took the minus to the other side, so that is 20 mg minus 3 into 4 is 12 mg. That gives how much? That gives 8 mg, right? So I'm going to write it here. 300 equals 30 mg minus 12 is 8. That is 8 m and the g is 10, isn't it? So 10 to 10 cancels out. M equals 30 over 8. That will be 2.5, isn't it? That's 2.5. The mass is 2.5 and the newtons is 25, right? So the mass is how much? 2.5. So they are asking what? The perpendicular reaction force acting on the rod at the pivot point and the value of M. Now the value of M is 2.5. Is it 30 divided by, no, it's more than 2.5, isn't it? Yeah, more than 2.5. 30 divided by 8, 3.75, I'm sorry. It is 3.75. It is 3.75. 3.75. The answer 3.75 only gives this one. Yeah. So it should be this. So if you want to find the perpendicular reaction, which is R, you have to take the equilibrium of the forces. The upward forces should be equal to the downward forces. If you add the all upward forces and deduct it from the downward force, you get the R, right? So the R should be this, right? 1062.5. If an object of mass 2 kg moving at a uniform velocity is made to move on a rough surface with a coefficient of static friction of 0.3 and the coefficient of the dynamic friction of 0.2, and if it comes to rest after traveling a distance of 10 meters in a time of 58 seconds, the rate of work done by the object against the friction acting on the object is. Okay. Now that is something like this, isn't it? So it says 2 kg of a mass is moving on two different surfaces with two different frictions, right? So I'm going to take this as 0.3 of a coefficient. This is 0.2 of a coefficient, and the mass is 2 kilograms, right? Yeah, mass is 2 kilograms. And it says it moves in a now there is a mistake back again. This should be 5 seconds, right? So it's the velocity is 10 over 5, that is 2 meters per second. That is 2 meters per second, the velocity, and the power is equal to force into velocity, right? So force you have to find, that is the friction. The velocity you already found it. So the friction is F equals mu r. Now the mu is 0.3 and the reaction is 20, because the weight and the reaction should be equal. Now here the F is how much? 6, and here the F equals mu r, and the mu is 0.2 and the reaction is still 20, that is 4. So if you put P equals Fe to both of these two, this is 6 into the velocity is 2, that is 12, and the P into Fe here, the force is 4, velocity is 2, that is 8. So 12 plus 8 is 20 watts, right? That is 20 watts. The rate of work done by the object, that is 20 watts. The final question: a nylon rope used for the safe mountain climbing is 50 meters long. Its diameter is 0.01 meters. When the tensile force of 900 Newton is applied on the rope is stretched 1.4 meters. The modulus of the elasticity of the nylon rope is. They are asking for the Young's modulus, right? I'll take a different color here. Young's modulus is equal to FL over AE. That is the simplest formula that I can put. So it gives a 900 newtons of a force, and the length is 50 meters, and the diameter is given 0.01. So you have to put Pythagoras, that will be 22/7 into the r square, that is how much? 0.01 is 1 into 10 to the power minus 2. Yeah, 1 into 10 to the power minus 2, and its complete square. That is the area, the cross sectional area, and the rope has stretched 1.4 meters, that is the E extension. So you simplify this, you get the Young's modulus. Should be how much? So the 7 comes to the top, right? 7 comes to the top. So it's 900 multiplied by 50 multiplied by 7 and divided by 1.4, back again divided by 22, and there is 10,227. This, there is like 10 to the power minus 4 there. When it comes to the top, becomes 10 to the power plus 4, and should be something like 1.02 into 1, 2, 3, 4, that is 8. 1.02 into 10 to the power 8 should be the answer. Now two of the different answers are there, so if I correct one of the power as 8 here, the answer should be that. So few of the mistakes were there, but I think I corrected them in the paper. And fuck it, am I fucking muted? What the hell? Right, so we'll finish the class here. We discussed the 50 MCQs, right? We'll discuss the structured essay and the essay the coming days. And I hope that you have gained much of a knowledge, and if you have any mistakes going through the questions, try to improve those. And if you haven't studied any of the points that we discussed here, start studying them. And if you have any of the other errors, any of the mistakes, improve it step by step, and you'll be getting closer to the greatest result that you can achieve, right? So one step at a time, do at your maximum power, do at your maximum strength, and you'll be completely and totally fine, right? So guys, adios, we'll see you the next day. Thank you.